Welcome to the quest for the best PlayStation 3 game of all time. The series where I try to figure out which PS3 game is the best by playing and rating them. And in this episode we have... Resistance: Fall of Man is a first-person shooter developed by Insomniac Games and published by Sony Computer Entertainment for the PlayStation 3. It was released as a launch title for the PS3 in 2006. The game is set in a fictional 1950s where American soldiers fight in Europe against an alien invasion. There is a co-op multiplayer mode and an online multiplayer mode alongside the single-player campaign. The narrative of Resistance: Fall of Man takes place in an alternate 1951, where Europe has been overrun by the Chimera, a mysterious species that has the ability to infect humans and turn them into alien soldiers. The United States, relatively unscathed, sends troops to aid the UK, where the main character, US Army Sergeant Nathan Hale, is involved in the fight against the Chimera. The game deserves praise for its compelling alternate history setting and the dark, immersive lore that it builds around the Chimera invasion. The narrative effectively combines elements of science fiction and horror. I must point out that while the premise is intriguing, the storytelling itself can be somewhat lackluster, with less focus on character development and more on the broader conflict/alternate history. Simply put, the lore is good and the story is just okay. The game features typical first-person shooter mechanics with a range of weapons, some of which possess unique and innovative functionalities. The game supports both a single-player campaign and multiplayer modes. The gameplay has solid shooting mechanics and a good variety of weapons available, each with unique abilities that encourage strategic play. The game also deserves acclaim for its challenging AI, enemy diversity, and well-designed level layouts. On the downside, I feel the gameplay lacked significant innovation in the FPS genre, following many standard conventions without introducing groundbreaking changes. And while the level design had some interesting ideas, I found myself walking up to random walls a lot trying to figure out how to proceed forward. The gameplay is overall solid. It feels like a combination of Call of Duty and Halo, but not quite hitting the mark as well as either of them. The game includes a single-player campaign, online multiplayer, and local co-op modes. The multiplayer aspect, in particular, supports large-scale battles of up to 40 players. The variety of modes and the scale of multiplayer battles were highly praised at the time, and offered significant replay value. And the co-op mode adds a layer of social gameplay that I found just as fun as any other couch co-op FPS. However, the single-player campaign can feel repetitive, and the multiplayer isn't really an option anymore as the game is, of course, dead. The game would have provided a good amount of replay value at the time it was popular, but nowadays you're really only getting the single player and the couch co-op, which is a limited experience compared to other games on the PS3. Resistance: Fall of Man merges traditional FPS elements with an alternate history storyline and unique alien adversaries. The game has an original setting, the weapons are unique, and so are the alien enemies, which helps it stand out in the overcrowded FPS market. The weapons deserve a little bit of a spotlight because, for example, there's one gun that does more damage the more material it shoots through, with a secondary ability that spawns a transparent barrier. There's also a grenade that levitates a few feet off the ground and then shoots a bunch of spikes all around it, as well as many other cool concepts. Despite this, the core gameplay is somewhat derivative, not straying too far from established FPS formulas. Like I said before, it's like a combination of Call of Duty and Halo, two series that were pretty well established by the time this game came out. Really, the most original things about this game are the alternate history setting, some of the weapons, and at the time, the 40-player multiplayer mode. Without these things, it would be a very basic and standard FPS. As an early PS3 title, this game showcased the capabilities of the new console with detailed environments and character models. At its release, the game was praised for its impressive graphics, particularly in rendering large-scale environments and detailed enemy designs. In hindsight, some aspects of the graphics, like facial animations and textures, aged poorly compared to later titles in the console's lifespan. It also suffers from a trend that was popular with games at the time. For some reason, a lot of M-rated games games, especially first-person shooters, that came out around, say, 2005 to 2010, had the color palette of a TV from the 1960s. That is to say, a lot of gray and a lot of brown. This game would be one of my first examples to give for that trend too. While the game has solid graphical fidelity for 2006, it's just downright dreary. Sort of sad looking. Lastly, let's cover the sound design. The game features a robust soundscape with ambient noise, environmental sounds, music, and weapon effects. The sound design, while competent, was not particularly memorable or innovative compared to other titles in the genre. It worked, but nothing stood out to me in this regard. Overall, I'm a bit disappointed in this game. This is my first time trying it out, and I've seen this game in game stores for almost 2 decades at this point, and the alternate history setting sounded intriguing. Unfortunately, the game just makes me want to play a better FPS, which is a genre that I've played too much of already. It's far from being a bad game, but with the genre that has been so oversaturated to death, like the first-person shooter genre, the game needs to stand out, and it doesn't. If I was ranking this game on a curve, it would be a higher ranking, but for right now, I will give it a 5.8 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Was I too harsh on this game? Let me know in the comments, and while you're down there, let me know what other games I should try out for this series. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one.